Chapter 1. Sofia's heels clicked against the marble floor as she walked through the empty ballroom. White roses and crystal decorations sparkled in the morning light. Tomorrow this room would be filled with 300 guests for her wedding. She smiled, running her fingers along the satin tablecloths. "Everything has to be perfect," she whispered. Her phone buzzed. A text from her wedding planner about last-minute details. Sofia typed a quick reply, then decided to check the reception area one more time. As she rounded the corner, she heard a man's voice. Jackson. Her soon-to-be husband. "Of course I'm going through with it." His voice drifted from behind a decorative pillar. "Do you think I'd walk away from the Russo fortune now? I've put in 2 years with this woman." Sofia froze. Her heart hammered against her ribs. "Listen, babe, once we're married I'll have access to her family connections." Pause. "No, she suspects nothing. Sofia thinks I'm head over heels for her." The phone in Sofia's hand slipped, clattering against the floor. She ducked behind the pillar, holding her breath. "I've got to go. Someone's here." Jackson's footsteps moved away. "See you tonight, same place. Love you too." Sofia crumpled to the floor, her white dress pooling around her. Her chest felt like someone had punched through it. 2 years. 2 years of dates and promises and ring shopping and meeting families. All a lie. She stumbled to her feet, mascara streaking her cheeks. With shaking hands she pulled out her compact mirror. The woman staring back looked broken. Her mother's words echoed in her mind. "Never let them see you cry, Sofia. A Russo shows strength always." Sofia wiped her face, reapplied her lipstick and walked straight to the hotel bar. "Double whiskey, neat," she told the bartender, who raised an eyebrow but didn't question the bride-to-be drinking at 11 in the morning. 1 drink became 3. Her phone buzzed with messages from her wedding planner, her mother, her bridesmaids. He ignored them all. The alcohol burned down her throat, numbing the pain in her chest. "There you are." Jackson's voice cut through her thoughts. He slid onto the bar stool beside her, all perfect white teeth and designer suit. "Been looking everywhere for you, sweetheart." He leaned in to kiss her cheek. Sofia turned her face away. "Who were you talking to earlier?" "Behind the pillar." His smile didn't waver. "Just my business partner. Last-minute deal before the honeymoon." "You called her babe." Sofia's voice was ice. "You said love you too." A flicker of panic crossed Jackson's face, quickly replaced with confusion. "I don't know what you think you heard." "Stop lying." The glass shattered in Sofia's hand, whiskey splashing across the bar. Heads turned their way. 2 years, Jackson. Was any of it real? Jackson grabbed her wrist, his smile strained. "Let's discuss this privately, sweetheart. You're making a scene." Sofia yanked her hand away. "You want a scene? I'll give you a scene." She stood on the bar stool, wobbling slightly. "Attention everyone. My name is Sofia Russo and this man," she pointed at Jackson's horrified face, "has been cheating on me the day before our wedding. He's marrying me for my family's money." Gasps echoed through the bar. Sofia recognized several early-arriving wedding guests among the crowd. "Sofia, get down," Jackson hissed, reaching for her. She kicked off her heels, one hitting Jackson square in the chest. "The wedding is off. Drinks on me, open bar for everyone." Cheers erupted as Sofia jumped down, grabbed her purse and stormed toward the exit. Jackson followed, grabbing her arm. "You're drunk. You don't know what you're doing," he growled. "Think about your family's reputation." "My family?" Sofia laughed bitterly. "My family has survived worse than a cancelled wedding." She spotted her father's silver Mercedes in the parking lot, keys still in her purse from when she'd borrowed it that morning. Without thinking twice, she unlocked it and slid behind the wheel. Jackson pounded on the window. "Sofia, don't be stupid." She revved the engine, drowning out his voice. The tires squealed as she peeled out of the parking lot, leaving Jackson in a cloud of exhaust. Tears blurred her vision as she sped through traffic lights. Her phone buzzed constantly. She switched it off and threw it onto the passenger seat. 2 years, she said to the empty car. 2 years of my life. The road ahead blurred. Sofia wiped her eyes with one hand, not seeing the turn sign until it was too late. The car veered into an unfamiliar neighborhood. Narrow streets lined with Italian restaurants and markets. Little Italy. The one area her father had always warned her to avoid. Business complications, he'd say vaguely whenever they drove near it. Sofia tried to turn around, but the streets grew narrower. A group of men in dark suits crossed in front of her car. She swerved to avoid them, her foot hitting the gas instead of the brake. The Mercedes jumped the curb. Glass shattered around her as the car crashed through a storefront window. The airbag exploded in her face, knocking the breath from her lungs. When the dust settled, Sofia looked up through the shattered windshield. She'd crashed into a restaurant. Round tables with white tablecloths. Men in expensive suits staring at her in shock. An older woman in a wheelchair at the head table. A tall, dark-haired man pushed through the crowd. He wore a perfectly tailored black suit, his face like something carved from stone. Their eyes met through the wreckage. Sofia recognized him immediately from business magazines and newspaper articles. Matteo Rossi, the heir to the city's most notorious family. She'd just crashed her father's car into a Mafia dinner. Chapter 2. Silence fell over the restaurant. Glass crunched under expensive leather shoes as Matteo Rossi approached the wrecked Mercedes. Sofia's knuckles turned white around the steering wheel. "Someone call an ambulance," a woman shouted. "No," Matteo raised his hand. "No authorities." His voice was deep, slightly accented. His dark eyes never left Sofia's face. Two security guards reached for the car door. Sofia flinched as they yanked it open, the metal groaning in protest. "Are you hurt?" Matteo asked, leaning into the car. His cologne, something expensive and subtle, cut through the smell of burnt rubber and airbag powder. Sofia tried to speak but only managed a small shake of her head. Blood trickled from a cut on her forehead. "Get her inside," Matteo ordered. "And someone move this car before it attracts attention." Strong hands pulled Sofia from the wreckage. Her white dress was torn and smudged with dirt. One shoe missing. She stumbled as they led her past overturned tables and shocked dinner guests. "My Nana's birthday dinner," Matteo murmured beside her. "You certainly know how to make an entrance." "Russo," Sofia whispered, then immediately regretted it when Matteo's eyebrows shot up. "Russo." His jaw tightened. "As in Antonio Russo's daughter?" Before she could answer, an elderly woman in a wheelchair rolled forward. Despite her age, she sat straight-backed, draped in black silk and pearls. Her eyes, the same dark brown as Matteo's, were sharp with interest. "Who is this girl who crashes into my party, Nipote?" she asked Matteo. "Sofia Russo Nana," Matteo answered, his tone careful. "Antonio Russo's daughter." The old woman's eyes widened. She crossed herself quickly. "A Russo in our restaurant? On this day? It's a sign." "It's a drunk driver, Nana Lucia," Matteo corrected gently. "Nothing more." "I'm not drunk," Sofia protested, then swayed slightly. "Well, maybe a little." Matteo's lip twitched. "Take her upstairs," he told a guard. "Clean her up while I deal with this mess." The guard led Sofia through a back door and up a narrow staircase. They entered a luxurious office, all dark wood and leather. Family photos lined the walls. A large portrait of Nana Lucia in her youth hung behind the desk. "Sit," the guard ordered, pointing to a leather couch. Sofia obeyed, too dazed to argue. She watched him leave, locking the door behind him. Outside, sirens wailed in the distance. Police. Her father would kill her if she got arrested. Her mother would die of embarrassment. The Russo name in the papers connected to the Rossi crime family. Sofia paced the office, searching for an escape. The window overlooked a back alley, too far to jump. Her phone was still in the car. She was trapped. The door opened and Matteo entered carrying a first aid kit. His suit jacket was gone, white shirt sleeves rolled up to reveal forearms corded with muscle. "The police are outside," he said, setting the kit on the desk. "They're taking statements about a hit and run that damaged the front of a nearby clothing boutique." His eyes met hers. Fortunately, no one was hurt in this entirely different incident. Sofia sank onto the couch. "Why are you helping me?" "I haven't decided if I am yet." He opened the first aid kit. "Hold still." His fingers were surprisingly gentle as he cleaned the cut on her forehead. Sofia winced. "You know who I am," she said. "The daughter of my family's biggest legitimate business rival?" "Yes." He applied a butterfly bandage to her cut. "The question is, why were you driving through Little Italy drunk in a wedding dress?" Sofia's eyes filled with tears. I was supposed to get married tomorrow. Then I heard my fiancé on the phone with someone. He only wanted me for my family's money. Ah. Matteo stepped back, studying her face. So you decided to crash a car into the most dangerous part of the city? I didn't mean to come here. I was just driving. A tear slid down her cheek. I didn't think clearly. His tone softened slightly. Your car destroyed the front of my restaurant during my grandmother's 90th birthday celebration. A celebration attended by several business associates who don't appreciate police attention. Sofia paled. I'm sorry. I'll pay for everything. It's not about money. Matteo turned away, gazing at the portrait of his grandmother. Nonna Lucia isn't well. This may be her last birthday. Guilt twisted in Sofia's stomach. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to ruin her party. And yet you did. He faced her again, expression unreadable. My grandmother is traditional. Family means everything to her. For years she's been asking when I'll settle down, give her great-grandchildren. Sofia frowned, confused by the change in topic. I don't understand. When you crashed into our dinner, she took it as a sign. A muscle ticked in Matteo's jaw. She thinks you were sent to me. Sent to you. Sofia repeated. Like by God. Something like that. Matteo leaned against the desk, crossing his arms. I have a proposal for you, Sofia Russo. She tensed. What kind of proposal? A marriage proposal. Sofia barked out a laugh, then realized he wasn't smiling. You're serious? Never more so. Matteo's eyes were cold. You marry me, temporarily. 6 months. We make it look real for my grandmother. In return, I handle this incident. No police. No connection between the Russo name and the Rossi family in the papers. You're insane, Sofia stood up. I just escaped one fake relationship. Why would I jump into another? Matteo stepped closer. Because I know things about your family's business that your father wouldn't want public. The suppliers he uses in China. The tax arrangements in the Cayman Islands. Sofia's blood ran cold. That's blackmail. That's business. Matteo's face was inches from hers. And there's the small matter of you witnessing a meeting between certain families that never officially happened. I didn't see anything. Didn't you? His gaze was challenging. The men in the restaurant would say otherwise. Sofia's mind raced. Her family's reputation. The scandal. Her father's business dealings exposed. And the wedding, already paid for, guests already arriving. One more thing, Matteo added. Your ex-fiancé. What was his name? Jackson, Sofia whispered. Jackson Bennett. If you agree to my terms, Mr. Bennett will never bother you again. A shiver ran down Sofia's spine. Don't hurt him. Something like disappointment flashed across Matteo's face. Still protecting him? After what he did? I don't want anyone hurt because of me, Sofia clarified. Matteo studied her for a long moment. You're not what I expected from a Russo. The door opened before Sofia could respond. Nonna Lucia wheeled herself in, followed by a nervous-looking priest. Is she agreeable, Nipote? The old woman asked, eyes bright with excitement. Matteo looked at Sofia, one eyebrow raised in question. Sofia stared back, heart pounding in her ears. 6 months of her life for her family's reputation. 6 months pretending to be married to a man whose family her father had warned her about since childhood. Well, Ms. Russo? Matteo extended his hand. Do we have a deal? Sofia took a deep breath and placed her hand in his. Yes. We have a deal. Chapter 3. Absolutely not. Right now. Sofia backed away from the priest. We can't get married tonight. Nonna Lucia's face fell. The old woman clutched her rosary beads tighter. Nonna, give us a moment. Matteo's voice was gentle but firm. When they were alone again, he turned to Sofia. You agreed. To marry you, yes. Not right this second. Sofia ran her hands through her tangled hair. I need time to think, to plan. There is no time. Matteo crossed to a window and pulled back the curtain. See those men across the street? They're with the Calabrese family. They saw you crash into a private meeting. If we don't establish you as under my protection immediately, they'll consider you a threat. Sofia peered out. 3 men in dark suits leaned against a black SUV watching the restaurant. This is insane, she whispered. This is my world. Matteo let the curtain fall. Tonight we marry. Tomorrow we handle the details. Pie family. We'll be told we've been secretly dating. That after your fiancé's betrayal you came to me. We decided life is short and made it official. Matteo shrugged. A whirlwind romance. Sofia laughed bitterly. No one will believe that. They'll believe what we show them. Matteo's eyes hardened. Make your choice, Sofia. My offer or take your chances with the police and those men outside. Sofia swallowed hard. Fine. But I have conditions. Name them. 6 months, not a day longer. Separate bedrooms. And when this is over, you'll help me establish my own business away from my family's name. Matteo raised an eyebrow. You don't want your family's hotels? I want to earn my own way. I'm more than just a Russo. Sofia lifted her chin. Do we have a deal? Something like respect flickered in Matteo's eyes. We do. 20 minutes later, Sofia stood in a back room of the restaurant, staring at her reflection in a vintage mirror. One of the waitresses had lent her a simple blue dress to replace her torn white one. The symbolism wasn't lost on her. A soft knock came at the door. Nonna Lucia wheeled herself in, a small wooden box in her lap. You look troubled, child, the old woman said. Sofia forced a smile. Just wedding jitters. Ah. Nonna Lucia didn't look convinced. She opened the box and removed a delicate gold necklace with a small ruby pendant. This was my mother's. I wore it on my wedding day. As did Matteo's mother. I couldn't. Family traditions must continue. The old woman's voice was firm. She gestured for Sofia to bend down. Cool metal touched Sofia's skin as Nana fastened the necklace. My grandson is a good man. Better than his father. Better than he believes himself to be. Sofia touched the pendant. You barely know me. I know enough. Nana Lucia's eyes were shrewd. You crashed into our lives for a reason. Call it fate, call it God's plan. I've waited many years to see Matteo settled. This isn't. Sofia stopped herself. Thank you for the necklace. Nana Lucia patted her hand. Make him happy, child. He carries too many burdens. Before Sofia could respond, the door opened again. A young woman with Matteo's dark eyes, his sister Sofia guessed, announced it was time. The restaurant had been transformed. Broken glass swept away, tables rearranged. Candles bathed the room in warm light. In the center stood Matteo, looking impossibly handsome in a fresh suit, and the nervous priest. Around them, a crowd of well-dressed strangers watched. Family members? Criminals? Sofia couldn't tell. Her heart hammered as she walked toward Matteo. This wasn't how her wedding was supposed to be. Ready? He murmured when she reached him. Though she wanted to scream. Instead she nodded. The ceremony passed in a blur. Sofia repeated words without hearing them. Matteo's hand felt warm and steady as he slipped a ring on her finger. A simple gold band that somehow fit perfectly. You may kiss the bride, the priest announced. Sofia tensed. Matteo leaned in, his breath warm against her ear. Just for show, he whispered, then brushed his lips against hers in a kiss so light she barely felt it. Applause erupted around them. Nana Lucia wiped tears from her wrinkled cheeks. Someone popped champagne. 2 hours later, Sofia sat beside Matteo at the head table, a plate of untouched food before her. She'd been introduced to dozens of people whose names she immediately forgot. Matteo's sister Bianca. His cousins Marco and Luca. Business associates whose handshakes felt like threats. Smile, Matteo murmured, his arm draped casually around her shoulders. You look like you're at a funeral, not your wedding. Sorry if I'm not convincing enough, Sofia hissed through her smile. I've had a rather trying day. Matteo's lip twitched. Eat something. The pasta is my grandmother's recipe. Sofia picked up her fork, surprised to find herself suddenly starving. The pasta was delicious. Better than any 5-star restaurant she'd dined at. It's good, she admitted. High praise from a Russo. Matteo sipped his wine. Your family owns 3 Michelin-starred restaurants, don't they? Sofia paused mid-bite. You've done your homework. Know your enemies. Matteo's eyes met hers. Or in this case, your wife. The word sent a strange flutter through Sofia's stomach. She blamed the champagne. Time for speeches. Bianca announced, tapping her glass. Matteo squeezed Sofia's shoulder in warning before standing. He raised his glass, transformed before her eyes into a charming, besotted groom. "To my beautiful bride," he began, voice warm with fake affection, "who literally crashed into my life when I least expected it." Laughter rippled through the crowd. "They say the Rossi men fall fast and hard when we meet the right woman. Turns out they were right." He looked down at Sofia with such convincing adoration that for a moment, even she almost believed it. "To new beginnings. To new beginnings," the crowd echoed. Sofia's phone buzzed in her borrowed purse. She turned it back on after the ceremony, finding 60 missed calls from her parents, friends, and wedding planner. She'd sent a brief text to her mother. "Safe. With a friend. Will explain tomorrow." Now, glancing at the screen, she saw another message from her father. "Where are you? Police called about the car. Call me immediately." "Problem?" Matteo asked, noticing her expression. "My father. The car. It's being handled." Matteo's hand rested possessively on her back. "We'll deal with your family tomorrow." The celebration continued around them. Sofia watched Matteo with his family, gentle with his grandmother, playful with his sister, respectful with the older family members. Different from the cold man who'd blackmailed her into marriage. Near midnight, Nana Lucia announced she was tired. Before leaving, she took Sofia's hands in her papery ones. "Welcome to the family, my dear. You make an old woman very happy." Guilt twisted in Sofia's stomach. "Thank you for welcoming me." After the old woman was wheeled away, Matteo leaned close. "Time to go." "Go where?" Sofia asked, suddenly nervous. "Home. My penthouse." His breath was warm against her ear. "Unless you'd prefer to stay here and continue the charade all night?" Sofia stood quickly. "Let's go." They said their goodbyes. Matteo guided her to a sleek black Maserati parked in the alley behind the restaurant. As they drove through the sleeping city, reality crashed down on Sofia. She was married. To a stranger. "Rossi. What have I done?" she whispered. Matteo glanced at her. In the glow of passing streetlights, his face looked almost kind. "You survived," he said simply. "Tomorrow we begin the next act." Chapter 4. The elevator climbed silently to the top floor of one of the city's most exclusive high-rises. Sofia leaned against the wall, exhaustion washing over her. Beside her, Matteo loosened his tie, his reflection multiplied in the mirrored walls. "Almost home, wife," he said, the word sounding strange on his tongue. The elevator opened directly into a spacious penthouse. Floor-to-ceiling windows revealed the glittering city below. Modern furniture, minimalist art, and not a speck of dust in sight. "Your room is this way." Matteo led her down a hallway and opened a door to a luxurious guest bedroom. "Bathroom through there. Closet's empty. We'll get your things tomorrow." Sofia stepped inside, taking in the king-sized bed with its crisp white sheets. "Thank you." An awkward silence fell between them. "I'll leave you to rest." Matteo turned to go. "Wait." Sofia wrapped her arms around herself. "What happens tomorrow?" "With my family." Matteo leaned against the doorframe. "We go together. Present a united front. Tell them we've been secretly seeing each other for months. After you caught your fiancé cheating, you came to me and we decided life's too short. They'll never believe it. They'll believe what they see. A devastated daughter who found comfort in the arms of..." He hesitated. "A gangster," Sofia supplied. Something flashed in Matteo's eyes, anger, perhaps hurt. "Is that what you think I am? Isn't it what you want me to think? You blackmailed me into marriage by threatening my family." "I offered you protection," Matteo countered. "Those men at the restaurant? They wouldn't have hesitated to silence a witness. So you're a hero?" Sofia laughed bitterly. "No." Matteo's voice softened. "I'm a man doing what's necessary to protect what's mine. Now that includes you." A shiver ran down Sofia's spine. "I'm not yours. This isn't real. For the next 6 months it needs to be." Matteo pushed off from the doorframe. "Get some sleep. We face your family tomorrow." After he left, Sofia sank onto the bed. The borrowed blue dress felt suddenly constricting. She slipped it off and padded to the bathroom, where she found new toothbrushes and toiletries still in their packaging. As if Matteo was used to having overnight guests. The thought bothered her more than it should. After a hot shower, Sofia wrapped herself in a plush robe and crept back into the bedroom. On the bed lay a silk nightgown and matching robe. A note beside them read simply, "Bianca thought you might need these." Sofia changed gratefully, then slid between the cool sheets. Despite her exhaustion, sleep eluded her. 24 hours ago she'd been preparing to marry Jackson. Now she was in a stranger's penthouse, wearing his sister's clothes with a wedding ring on her finger. She twisted the simple gold band. Not at all like the flashy diamond Jackson had given her. A sound from beyond her door pulled her from her thoughts. Matteo moving around the penthouse. She listened to his footsteps, the opening and closing of cabinets, the clink of glass against glass. Wondered if he was having trouble sleeping too. Morning came too quickly. Sofia woke to sunlight streaming through windows she'd forgotten to cover. For a moment she didn't remember where she was. Then reality crashed over her. A knock came at her door. "Coffee's ready," Matteo called. "And we need to talk before we see your family." Sofia found clothes laid out on a chair. Simple black pants and a cream blouse that somehow fit perfectly. More of Bianca's, she guessed. In the kitchen, Matteo stood at the counter reading something on a tablet. He wore a casual black sweater that made his shoulders look even broader. His dark hair was slightly damp, as if he'd just showered. He glanced up, his eyes traveling over her. "Better than the wedding dress." Sofia accepted the coffee he offered. "Thank you for the clothes. Bianca dropped them off early this morning. She's eager to dress her new sister-in-law." Matteo's lip quirked. She always wanted a sister. She has one now. Temporarily. Sofia sipped her coffee. It was perfect, strong with just the right amount of cream. "How did you know how I take my coffee?" "I notice things." Matteo set down his mug. "Your parents have been calling hospitals and police stations all night. Your phone's been ringing since dawn." Sofia winced. "I should call them." "No. We go in person. But first, ground rules." Matteo leaned against the counter. 1. In public we're madly in love. Always. 2. You don't interfere with my business, I don't interfere with yours. 3. What happens in this penthouse stays private. "Anything else?" Sofia asked. "Yes. No seeing your ex-fiancé. Ever." Sofia bristled. "I have no desire to see Jackson again, but you don't get to dictate who I—" "It would undermine our story," Matteo cut in. "And I won't have my wife meeting another man, even a fake wife." "Fine." Sofia crossed her arms. "My turn. 1. No bringing other women here. 2. No involving me in anything illegal. 3. You'll financially back whatever business I decide to start after our divorce." Matteo raised an eyebrow. "Ambitious. But fair enough. Though I'm curious. What business are you planning?" "Event planning. I've worked for others for years. I'm good at it, but no one takes me seriously because of my name. They think I'm just playing at having a career." Something like understanding crossed Matteo's face. Living in a family shadow isn't easy. Before Sofia could respond, her phone rang again. Her mother's face lit up the screen. "Time to face the music," Matteo said. "Ready, wife." An hour later they sat in her parents' expansive living room. Antonio Russo paced before them, his face purple with rage. Sofia's mother perched on the edge of a chair, dabbing at her eyes with a monogrammed handkerchief. "Married? To a Rossi?" Antonio's accent thickened with his anger. "Have you lost your mind, Sofia? Do you know what this man's family is? What they do?" "Papa, please." Sofia reached for Matteo's hand without thinking. He squeezed hers reassuringly. "Mr. Russo," Matteo's voice was calm, respectful. "I understand your concerns. Our families have a complicated history. But my feelings for your daughter are genuine." Antonio snorted. "Feelings? You've known each other what? A day. 6 months, Sofia lied, the story they'd agreed upon. "We met at the charity gala last fall. We kept it quiet because of the family rivalries." Her mother stopped crying. 6 months. All while you were engaged to Jackson?" Sofia looked down, playing the guilty daughter. "Jackson and I, it wasn't working. I was going to break it off after New Year's, but then his company got into trouble and he seemed so stressed. I didn't want to hurt him. So instead you humiliated our entire family?" Antonio roared. "Left him at the altar and ran off with a Rossi? When I found him with another woman, I went to Matteo, Sofia said, sticking to their script. We realized life's too short for waiting. Her mother studied them, eyes narrowing. You seem very calm about all this, Mr. Rossi. Matteo smiled, his thumb rubbing small circles on Sofia's hand. Please call me Matteo. And I'm not calm, Mrs. Russo. I'm happier than I've ever been. Sofia glanced at him, startled by the warmth in his voice. For a moment even she believed him. Her father wasn't convinced. This marriage, can it be annulled? Papa. Sofia protested. No, Matteo said firmly. Sofia is my wife. That won't change. Antonio's gaze hardened. What do you want? Money? Information about our hotel chain? Access to our connections? I want your daughter's happiness, Matteo replied smoothly. And your blessing would mean the world to her. A tense silence filled the room. Finally, Antonio sighed heavily. I need a drink. He moved to the bar cart in the corner. You've made your bed, Sofia. Now you must lie in it. As they left her parents' house, Sofia felt drained. That went about as well as could be expected. Your father will come around, Matteo said, helping her into his car. Eventually. You don't know my father. Sofia stared out the window as they drove. He holds grudges for decades. Matteo's phone buzzed. He checked it, his expression darkening. We need to make a stop first. I have some business to attend to. What kind of business? Sofia asked warily. Matteo's smile didn't reach his eyes. The kind that ensures your ex-fiancé never bothers you again. Chapter 5. Stop the car, Sofia demanded. Now. Matteo raised an eyebrow but pulled over. If you hurt Jackson, I walk. Sofia's voice shook. I don't care about our arrangement. You think I'm going to hurt him? Matteo looked genuinely surprised. Aren't you? What else could ensuring he never bothers me again mean? Matteo sighed. I'm having his belongings removed from your apartment. That's all. Oh. Sofia felt her cheeks warm. I'm sorry, I thought that I was going to break his kneecaps? Matteo's mouth twisted. I'm not a cartoon villain, Sofia. She looked away. I don't know what you are. No, he said quietly. You don't. They rode in silence to Sofia's apartment building. Matteo's men were already there, loading boxes into a van. How did you get in? Sofia asked. Your doorman knows me. Matteo helped her from the car. We have a business arrangement. Inside, Sofia found her apartment spotless. No trace of Jackson remained. His clothes, books, even the terrible modern art he'd insisted on hanging in her living room. All gone. Thorough, she murmured. I take care of details. Matteo moved through her space, eyes scanning everything. Pack whatever you need for the next few weeks. The rest will move to the penthouse later. I'm not giving up my apartment. Keep it if you want. But you live with me now. Sofia bristled at his tone but began gathering essentials. In her bedroom, she paused at her vanity. Jackson's engagement ring sat in a small dish. 3 carats, princess cut. Once it had seemed like a dream. Now it felt like evidence of her poor judgment. What should I do with this? She asked when Matteo appeared in the doorway. He took the ring, examining it. Decent quality. Not worth what he paid for it, though. He pocketed it. I'll handle it. I should return it. To the man who cheated on you the night before your wedding? He doesn't deserve that courtesy. Matteo picked up her suitcase. Ready. Back at the penthouse, Sofia unpacked in her new room. She arranged her toiletries in the bathroom, hung her clothes in the closet, placed framed photos on the dresser. Trying to make this strange place feel somewhat familiar. A knock at the open door. Matteo stood there watching her. Settling in? He asked. Trying to. Sofia set down a photo of her parents. Thank you for handling Jackson's things. Matteo shrugged. Hungry? I ordered dinner. In the kitchen, Sofia found takeout containers from one of the city's most exclusive restaurants. Far better than the ramen she usually ate when alone. You didn't need to do this, she said as Matteo opened a bottle of wine. My wife won't eat cheap food. He handed her a glass. We have an image to maintain. They ate at the island counter, an almost comfortable silence between them. Tell me about your event planning, Matteo said eventually. What kind of business do you want to build? Surprised by his interest, Sofia told him about her dream of planning high-end corporate events. How she'd worked her way up from assistant to lead planner at a prestigious firm, only to have clients credit her success to her family name. You could use the Russo name to your advantage, Matteo observed. I want to succeed on my own merits. Sofia twirled pasta around her fork. Is that stupid? No. Matteo's eyes met hers. It's admirable. Something warm unfurled in Sofia's chest. She looked away quickly. What about you? She asked. Is the restaurant your main business or? One of many. Matteo refilled their glasses. The Rossi family has diversified interests. Legal ones. A flash of amusement. Mostly. After dinner, Sofia helped clear the dishes, noticing Matteo's surprise at the gesture. What? She asked. Did you think I'd expect a maid to do it? Most women I know would. I'm not most women. His eyes held hers. No, you're not. Heart suddenly pounding, Sofia excused herself to shower. Under the hot water, she tried to make sense of her feelings. This marriage was fake. A business arrangement. Yet something about Matteo intrigued her. His confidence, his complexity. The gentleness he showed his grandmother contrasted with the calculating businessman who'd orchestrated their marriage. Later, wrapped in a robe, Sofia settled on her bed with her laptop. She had emails to answer, clients to notify about her sudden marriage. The story would be in the society pages by morning. Her door was open a crack. Through it she could see Matteo in his office across the hall. He sat at a large desk reviewing papers. His face was serious, focused. Sofia's eyes caught on something familiar among his documents. The Russo Hotel's logo. She froze. Why would Matteo have information about her family's business? A chill ran through her. What if this wasn't about his grandmother at all? What if Matteo had engineered this whole situation to spy on her family's company? Sofia waited until Matteo left his office for a phone call. Then, heart-hammering, she slipped across the hall. The papers were spread across his desk. Financial reports. Property assessments. Security protocols. All for Russo Hotels. What are you doing? Sofia jumped. Matteo stood in the doorway, eyes cold. I could ask you the same thing, Sofia gestured to the papers. Planning a hostile takeover of my family's business? Is that what this marriage is really about? You shouldn't be in here. Matteo's voice was dangerously calm. Answer me. Sofia grabbed one of the reports. Is this why you wanted to marry me? Access to Russo Hotels. Matteo crossed the room in 3 long strides, taking the paper from her hand. You agreed not to interfere in my business. That was before I found out your business is spying on my family. Sofia's voice rose. What are you planning, Matteo? What's your angle here? There is no angle. Matteo gathered the papers into a folder. This isn't what you think. Then what is it? Sofia demanded. Explain. Matteo's jaw tightened. I can't. Can't or won't. Sofia backed toward the door. I knew this was too good to be true. You helping me, caring about my feelings. It was all a lie to get close to my family's business. Sofia. Save it. She turned to leave, then froze as a realization hit her. The car crash. That wasn't an accident either, was it? You arranged the whole thing somehow. Got inside my head about Jackson so I'd be vulnerable. That's ridiculous. Matteo stepped closer. You're not thinking clearly. Don't. Sofia held up a hand. Don't tell me what I'm thinking or feeling. I want the truth, Matteo. Now. Something shifted in his eyes. For a moment Sofia thought he might actually explain. Then his expression hardened. Go to bed, Sofia. We'll discuss this tomorrow. We'll discuss it now. No, we won't. Matteo took her arm, guiding her firmly toward the door. You're upset and jumping to conclusions. Get some sleep. Sofia wrenched away from him. Don't touch me. Don't speak to me. This marriage may be fake, but I expected basic honesty. In her room, Sofia slammed the door and leaned against it, shaking with anger and hurt. She'd begun to trust him, to see him as more than just a criminal. Now she wasn't sure who he really was. Her laptop still sat on the bed. Sofia reached for it, determined to find out what Matteo was planning. She'd hack into his computer if necessary, search his files. The sound of breaking glass shattered the silence. Sofia froze, listening. Another crash followed by Matteo's shout. Sofia! Get down! The bedroom windows exploded inward. Sofia screamed, diving to the floor as bullets sprayed across the room. Plaster dust rained down as bullets thudded into the walls. The door burst open. Matteo charged in, gun in hand. He crossed to her in 2 strides, covering her body with his own as more glass shattered. Stay down, he ordered, his voice calm despite the chaos. Sirens wailed in the distance. Matteo pulled Sofia toward the bathroom, the only room without windows. Are you hurt? His hands moved over her, checking for injuries. Sofia shook her head, too shocked to speak. Matteo's eyes were frighteningly alert, his body tense and ready. Listen to me. He gripped her shoulders. They're after both of us. Someone knows you're a Russo and I'm a Rossi, and they want the heirs of both families dead. Who? Sofia whispered. I don't know yet, but I intend to find out. Matteo reached for his phone, then stiffened suddenly. His face contorted in pain. Matteo. He pressed a hand to his shoulder. In the harsh bathroom light, Sofia saw blood seeping through his fingers. You're hit. Fear replaced anger in an instant. It's nothing, Matteo grunted. Just a graze. But as he tried to stand, he stumbled. Sofia caught him, her hand coming away red with blood. Matteo. Panic edged her voice as he slumped against her, his blood soaking through her robe. His eyes met hers, surprisingly clear despite the pain. I need you to trust me, Sofia. Just for tonight. Before she could answer, his eyes rolled back and he collapsed in her arms. Chapter 6. Matteo. Sofia struggled under his weight. Wake up. Blood seeped through her fingers as she pressed against his shoulder wound. His eyes fluttered. Phone, he mumbled. Inside pocket. Sofia searched his jacket, finding a sleek black phone. What's the password? 0713. Matteo winced. Call Marco. No police. You need a hospital. No hospitals. His voice strengthened with urgency. Hospitals report gunshot wounds. Call Marco. Sofia's hands trembled as she dialed. A gruff voice answered on the first ring. Boss. It's Sofia. Matteo's been shot. Someone attacked the penthouse. Silence then. Is he conscious? Barely. Keep pressure on the wound. We'll be there in 10 minutes. Stay away from windows. The line went dead. Sofia tore open Matteo's shirt, revealing the bullet wound in his shoulder. Blood pulsed steadily. Not arterial, she remembered from a first aid course. I was good. Stay with me, she ordered, pressing a towel against the wound. Don't you dare die on me, Matteo Rossi. His lips curved weakly. Worried about me, wife? Worried about explaining your death to your grandmother, Sofia retorted, relieved to see some color in his face. Matteo chuckled, then winced. The documents you saw. They weren't what you think. Not now. Sofia checked his pulse. Strong but rapid. Save your strength. No. You need to know. Matteo gripped her wrist. Someone's been targeting both our families. Sabotaging projects. Creating conflicts. I've been tracking the pattern. Sofia frowned. Why would anyone? The bathroom door burst open. Marco and another man rushed in carrying a black medical bag. Out, the second man ordered Sofia. I'm staying. Sofia didn't recognize her own voice, steady, commanding. Marco raised an eyebrow at Matteo, who gave a slight nod. The next hour passed in a blur. The man, a doctor who worked off the books, extracted the bullet, stitched the wound, and administered antibiotics. Sofia held Matteo's hand throughout, surprised by her own steadiness. Clean through the muscle. Missed anything important, the doctor announced. He'll need rest. Keep the wound clean. After they helped Matteo to bed, Marco pulled Sofia aside. The perimeter is secure. My men are sweeping the building. Who did this? Sofia demanded. Marco studied her as if deciding how much to say. Unknown. Professional hit. They knew exactly when to strike. How? Someone's watching you both. Marco's gaze hardened. Or one of you is compromised. You think I had something to do with this? Sofia's voice rose. I think it's convenient that you and Matteo fight, then bullets start flying. I was nearly killed too. Marco. Matteo's voice cut through their argument. He stood in the doorway, pale but upright. Sofia is not to be questioned. She's family now. Marco's jaw tightened but he nodded. The security team will stay tonight. Tomorrow we move you both to the lake house. After Marco left, Sofia helped Matteo back to bed despite his protests. I don't need coddling, he grumbled. Shut up and lie down. Sofia arranged pillows behind him. The doctor said rest. Matteo caught her wrist. You handled yourself well tonight. I've taken first aid courses. Not just that. You stayed calm. Most people wouldn't. Sofia shrugged. I've always been good in emergencies. It's after that I fall apart. As if on cue, her hands began to shake. The adrenaline was wearing off, reality crashing in. Someone had tried to kill them. Bullets had torn through rooms where moments before she'd been standing. Hey. Matteo's voice softened. Come here. Sofia sank onto the edge of his bed. I thought you were going to die. Takes more than one bullet to kill me. His attempt at humor fell flat. This isn't a joke, Matteo. Who wants us dead? Matteo sighed. That's what I've been trying to figure out. 4 months, someone's been working to sabotage both our families. Setting up conflicts. Creating distrust. The papers in your office? Reports on attacks against Russo hotels. Security breaches. Financial manipulations. Similar to what's happening to my legitimate businesses. Sofia processed this. You've been protecting my family? Trying to understand the pattern. Matteo shifted, wincing. Someone wants a war between the Rossis and Russos. But why? When two powerful families fight, others benefit. Matteo's eyes were serious. I need your help, Sofia. Your knowledge of your family's business. My contacts on the street. Together we might find who's behind this. Sofia hesitated. Yesterday she'd believed Matteo was the enemy. Now he'd taken a bullet that might have hit her instead. Okay, she said finally. But full honesty from now on. No more secrets. Agreed. Matteo held out his hand. Partners. Sofia took it. Partners. The lake house was nothing like Sofia expected. Not a rustic cabin but a modern fortress nestled against the water. Floor-to-ceiling windows with bulletproof glass. State-of-the-art security. Beautiful and deadly like its owner. For 3 days, Matteo recuperated while Sofia worked remotely. They existed in a strange harmony, sharing meals, discussing the investigation, learning each other's habits. Matteo was not what she'd imagined. He read poetry. Played chess. Spoke 3 languages. His reputation for brutality contrasted with the man who thanked the housekeeper by name and fed the stray cat that visited their deck. On the 4th day, Sofia's phone rang. Her father. He's demanded a meeting, she told Matteo. He's suspicious about why we've suddenly left town. I'll come with you. You're still recovering. A Rossi doesn't send his wife to face danger alone. Matteo was already reaching for his jacket. It's just my father, not a firing squad. Sofia laughed, then sobered. Though sometimes it feels similar. The drive back to the city was tense. Sofia couldn't help scanning for suspicious vehicles. Beside her, Matteo made calls, his voice low and controlled. Her father's office occupied the top floor of the flagship Russo hotel. Antonio looked up from his desk when they entered, his face hardening at the sight of Matteo. I hear there was an incident at your penthouse, he said without preamble. Gun violence following my daughter wherever you take her? Papa, Sofia began. It's a fair question, Matteo said calmly. And one I'd ask in your position. Antonio seemed surprised by the acknowledgement. Well, someone is targeting both our families, Mr. Russo. The attack was meant to eliminate both Sofia and myself. Antonio's eyes narrowed. What nonsense is this? Sofia stepped forward. It's true, Papa. Someone wants to pit the Russos against the Rossis. Create conflict between us. There's already conflict. His family has operated on the wrong side of the law for generations. Some branches, Matteo acknowledged. But my businesses are legitimate. The restaurant. The import company. The tech startup developing medical devices. Antonio blinked. Medical devices? A project close to my grandmother's heart. After her stroke, the available technology was lacking. For the first time, Antonio looked at Matteo with something other than disdain. My mother had similar issues before she passed. Sofia watched in amazement as the two men began discussing healthcare technology. Her father, who'd spent years warning her away from the Rossi family, was actually listening to Matteo. Later, as they left the hotel, Sofia bumped Matteo's good shoulder playfully. You charmed my father. I didn't think that was possible. I merely spoke the truth. But Matteo looked pleased. About the medical company. I had no idea you were involved in something like that. There's a lot you don't know about me, Sofia. His eyes met hers. But I'd like to change that. Something shifted between them, a new understanding. Not quite trust, but it's beginning. As they walked to the car, Matteo's hand rested lightly on the small of her back. Sofia found she didn't mind. The shooter might have missed their bodies, but something had hit its target. The wall between them had begun to crumble. Chapter 7. Rain pattered against the windows of Matteo's study. Sofia curled in a leather armchair, laptop balanced on her knees, combing through financial records of Russo hotels. Across from her, Matteo examined security reports, his wounded shoulder still stiff but healing. Find anything? He asked, glancing up. Sofia rubbed her tired eyes. Maybe. 3 of our development projects failed in the last year. All after receiving negative environmental impact reports from the same consulting firm. Name. Meridian Consulting. Sofia turned her laptop toward him. Ever heard of them? Matteo frowned, scrolling through the website. Professional. Established. Seemingly legitimate. But I don't trust coincidences. He made a note. I'll have Marco look into them. Sofia stretched, wincing as her neck cracked. They'd been at this for hours, searching for connections between attacks on both families. Break time, Matteo announced. He stood, retrieving a bottle of wine from a cabinet. You look like you need this. Sofia accepted a glass gratefully. Is wine your solution to everything? Only the problems I can't shoot. A hint of humor softened his face. 3 weeks had passed since the attack. 3 weeks of working side by side, learning to decipher each other's moods, developing a rhythm that felt surprisingly natural. Sofia had moved back to the penthouse with Matteo after security upgrades were installed. Their partnership was strictly professional, but something was changing between them, a comfort, a familiarity she hadn't expected. Tell me about him, Matteo said suddenly. Who? Your ex. The one who wasn't worth the ground you walk on. Sofia laughed, surprised. Jackson? Not much to tell. Charming. Ambitious. Completely self-centered, as it turns out. What attracted you to him? Sofia swirled her wine, considering. He was safe. From a good family. The kind of man my parents approved of. She looked up, meeting Matteo's eyes. The opposite of you, actually. A smile tugged at his lips. And yet here you are with me. Not by choice initially, Sofia reminded him. And now? Matteo's voice lowered. Still here against your will? Heat crept up Sofia's neck. I'm here because someone's trying to kill us both. Because we have a deal. Right. The deal. Matteo turned back to his reports, the moment broken. Sofia's phone buzzed. A text from Bianca. Asterisk dinner tomorrow night. Nana's asking for you both. No excuses. Asterisk. Your sister is very demanding, Sofia showed Matteo the message. Bossy from birth, he agreed. We should go. I haven't seen Nana in weeks. Will she ask why we haven't visited? I told her we took an extended honeymoon. Matteo's eyes met hers over his glass. She's romantic that way. Sofia felt her cheeks warm. She'd been so focused on their investigation, she'd almost forgotten they were supposed to be newlyweds. We should get our stories straight then, she said. Where did we honeymoon? Amalfi Coast. My family has a villa there. Matteo moved to the window, watching rain slide down the glass. My mother loved it. The gardens especially. Sofia sensed a rare opening into his private life. You don't talk about your parents much. Not much to say. They died when I was 14. Car accident. I'm sorry. Sofia set down her glass. That must have been hard. Nana raised me after. Made sure I stayed in school, learned the business properly. Matteo's voice was distant. She's the only real parent I remember. Understanding bloomed in Sofia's chest. His devotion to his grandmother wasn't just family obligation. It was love, pure and deep. "She's lucky to have you," Sofia said softly. Matteo turned, surprise flickering across his face. "Most people would say the reverse. Most people don't know you." The words escaped before Sofia could reconsider them. Something shifted in Matteo's eyes, a warmth, an intensity that made Sofia's heart beat faster. He took a step toward her. A loud knock interrupted the moment. Marco burst in without waiting for an answer. "Found something," he announced, eyeing them both. "Jackson Bennett. Sofia's ex." Sofia straightened. "What about him?" "He's been meeting with representatives from Eclipse Holdings, a shell company with ties to the Calabrese family." "The Calabreses?" Matteo's voice sharpened. "You're certain?" Marco nodded grimly. "Very. And there's more. Eclipse recently acquired a majority stake in Meridian Consulting." Sofia gasped. "The same firm that tanked our hotel projects. The Calabreses are behind this?" Matteo looked skeptical. "They're not subtle enough for this kind of long game." "They're fronting for someone else," Marco agreed. "Someone with a grudge against both families." A chill ran down Sofia's spine. "Jackson's involved?" Marco handed her a folder. Inside were photos, Jackson meeting with a gray-haired man in an expensive suit. The timestamp showed they were taken just 2 days ago. "That's Vincent Calabrese," Matteo said, pointing to the older man. "Old school. Dangerous." Sofia stared at the photos, feeling sick. "Jackson knows all about my family's business. I talked to him about everything. And he used that information against you." Matteo's voice was gentle but firm. "This isn't your fault, Sofia. I brought him into my family. Gave him access." Shame and anger twisted in her gut. "I was so stupid. You trusted someone who didn't deserve it." Matteo took the folder from her trembling hands. "We all make mistakes. Some mistakes get people killed," Sofia whispered. Matteo knelt beside her chair, ignoring his injured shoulder. "Look at me." He waited until she met his eyes. "We're going to find who's behind this. Make them pay. But I need you focused, not blaming yourself." His intensity steadied her. "What's our next move?" "We follow Jackson. See who he reports to." Matteo stood, already planning. "And we set a trap." Late that night, Sofia couldn't sleep. The discovery of Jackson's betrayal had reopened wounds she thought were healing. She wandered to the kitchen for tea, surprised to find Matteo already there, staring out at the city lights. "Couldn't sleep either?" she asked. He turned, expression softening at the sight of her in pajamas, hair loose around her shoulders. "Thinking." Sofia filled the kettle. "About how to protect you." The simple honesty in his voice touched something deep inside her. "I'm tougher than I look, you know. I'm aware." A small smile played on his lips. "You've surprised me, Sofia Russo." "How so?" "I expected a spoiled heiress. Instead I got—" He paused, considering. "A partner." The word warmed her more than it should have. Sofia busied herself making tea, trying to ignore the flutter in her chest. "When this is over," she said carefully, "what happens to us?" Matteo accepted the mug she offered. "The agreement stands. 6 months, then you're free." "And if I don't want to be free?" The words escaped before she could stop them. The mug froze halfway to Matteo's lips. Their eyes locked across the kitchen island. A sharp knock at the door shattered the moment. One of Matteo's security guards entered, face grim. "Boss, someone left this at the front desk." He held out a plain white envelope. Matteo opened it carefully. Inside was a single sheet of paper with 2 words. "Stop digging." "They know we're on to them," Sofia whispered. Matteo crumpled the note. "Good. Let them worry. Matteo, they tried to kill us once already. And they failed." He moved around the island until he stood directly in front of her. "I won't let anyone hurt you, Sofia. I swear it." Without thinking, Sofia reached up, touching his face. Matteo went still under her fingers, eyes darkening. For one breathless moment she thought he might kiss her. Instead he captured her hand, pressing his lips to her palm, a gesture so intimate it made her gasp. "Get some sleep," he murmured. "Tomorrow we hunt." Chapter 8. Stop fidgeting, Matteo murmured, his hand warm against the small of Sofia's back. You look beautiful. Sofia smoothed her emerald gown for the 10th time. Everyone's staring at us. Let them stare. Matteo guided her through the crowded charity gala, nodding to acquaintances as they passed. Remember the plan? The plan. Right. Tonight was about gathering information, not Sofia's growing confusion about her feelings for Matteo. 4 weeks they'd been circling each other. Moments of connection followed by careful distance. The almost kiss in the kitchen remained unacknowledged between them. There he is, Sofia whispered, spotting a balding man in an expensive suit. Robert Chin, board member of Meridian Consulting. Matteo's arm tightened around her waist. Ready. Sofia straightened, slipping into the role of adoring wife. Ready. They approached Chin, champagne glasses in hand. Sofia pasted on her brightest smile. Mr. Chin, I was hoping to see you tonight. Chin turned, recognition and surprise crossing his face. Sofia Russo, or should I say Rossi now? Congratulations on your marriage. Thank you. Sofia leaned against Matteo, who played the besotted husband perfectly. Have you met my husband? Matteo extended his hand. Matteo Rossi. Sofia speaks highly of your work. Chen's handshake was hesitant. Rossi, of the restaurant family? Among other interests. Matteo's smile didn't reach his eyes. I'm particularly interested in environmental consulting lately. Sofia tells me your firm is the best. Chen's forehead beaded with sweat. We try to be thorough. Especially with Russo Hotels projects, I've noticed. Matteo's voice remained pleasant, but steel ran beneath it. 3 failed developments in a year. Quite a coincidence. Chin paled. Our assessments are science-based. Science is fascinating, Matteo interrupted. So precise when done correctly. So easily manipulated when not. Sofia squeezed Matteo's arm in warning. My husband is passionate about accuracy, Mr. Chin. Perhaps we could meet privately to discuss your firm's methodology. I need to check my schedule. Chin glanced around nervously. Excuse me. As he hurried away, Matteo smirked. He's rattled. You didn't have to scare him, Sofia hissed. Fear loosens tongues. Matteo led her toward the dance floor. Marco's team will follow him. See who he calls tonight. The orchestra began a waltz. Without asking, Matteo pulled Sofia into his arms, leading her in perfect time to the music. His hand on her waist felt like a brand. You dance well, she observed, surprised. Nana insisted. Said no grandson of hers would embarrass her at family weddings. His eyes crinkled with genuine amusement. You're not so bad yourself. 12 years of lessons. Sofia relaxed into his lead. My mother believed a lady should excel at traditional accomplishments. And what did Sofia believe? The question caught her off guard. That rules were made to be questioned. That traditions could be respected while still making room for something new. Matteo spun her gracefully, pulling her closer when she returned. A rebel in pearls. Says the criminal trying to go legitimate. Touché. His laugh was rich and warm, making heads turn their way. From the corner of her eye, Sofia spotted her parents entering the ballroom. My parents are here. Matteo followed her gaze. Shall we say hello? In a minute. Sofia wasn't ready to leave the bubble they'd created on the dance floor. Here, with Matteo's arms around her, the investigation and danger seemed distant. They moved together as if they'd been dancing for years, anticipating each other's movements effortlessly. Sofia found herself studying Matteo's face. The tiny scar above his eyebrow, the way his eyes revealed emotions his expression tried to hide. When had she learned to read him so well? As the music crescendoed, Matteo dipped her low. Their faces inches apart, his eyes dropped to her lips. Sofia's breath caught in her throat. For a moment she thought he might kiss her here in front of everyone. A commotion at the entrance broke the spell. Naipote. Sofia. Nana Lucia's voice carried across the ballroom. Matteo straightened, helping Sofia upright as his grandmother was wheeled toward them, resplendent in black lace and diamonds. You didn't tell me you'd be here, Lucia accused, accepting kisses from both of them. I had to hear from Bianca. Last-minute decision, Nana, Matteo explained. How did you get here? I bullied Marco into bringing me. Lucia waved imperiously at Marco, who stood watch from a discreet distance. It's been weeks since I've seen my favorite grandson and his bride. Guilt tugged at Sofia. They'd missed their dinner with Nana, caught up in following leads. I'm sorry, she said sincerely. We've been busy. Newlyweds, Lucia winked, making Sofia blush. But I'm not so old I can't enjoy a party. Now Matteo, go get me champagne. I want to speak with my granddaughter alone. Sofia shot Matteo a panicked look, but he merely kissed his grandmother's cheek. Don't believe everything she tells you, he murmured to Sofia before leaving. Lucia patted the chair beside her. Sit, Car. Tell me how married life treats you. Sofia obeyed, scrambling for what to say. It's full of surprises. The best marriages are. Lucia studied her shrewdly. You care for him. It wasn't a question. Sofia flushed. It's complicated. Love always is. Lucia took Sofia's hand, her papery skin cool. My Matteo guards his heart carefully. Too carefully. But I see how he looks at you when he thinks no one notices. Sofia's pulse quickened. How does he look at me? The way his grandfather looked at me. Like you're both the stars and the darkness between them. Lucia's eyes grew distant. We had so little time together before duty separated us. What happened? Sofia found herself genuinely curious. Our families had arrangements. He married the woman chosen for him. I married a man I respected but never loved. Lucia squeezed Sofia's hand. Don't waste time, Cara. Life is shorter than you think. Before Sofia could respond, Matteo returned with champagne. He raised an eyebrow at Sofia's thoughtful expression. Nana behaving herself? Never, Lucia declared, accepting her glass. Now tell me about this business trouble I hear whispers about. Matteo tensed. What whispers? I may be old but I still have ears in this city. Lucia sipped her champagne. The Calabreses are involved. And Sofia's former fiancé. Sofia exchanged alarmed glances with Matteo. How did you? Hush. Lucia waved away the question. What matters is keeping you both safe. Have you spoken with Antonio? Really spoken? By father. Sofia frowned. About what? The past child. Some wounds fester for generations. Before Lucia could explain further, Sofia's phone buzzed. A text from Marco. Chin made a call. Meeting someone now. Need to move. Sofia showed Matteo the message. He nodded. Nana, we need to go. Of course you do. Lucia shooed them away. Go. But remember what I said, Sofia. In the car, Sofia stared out the window, mind racing. What did she mean about my father? About the past? I don't know. Matteo looked troubled. Nana rarely speaks of the old days. Marco directed them to a small, exclusive bar downtown. Through the window, they watched Chin meet with a silver-haired man in a tailored suit. Lawrence Bennett, Sofia gasped. Jackson's father. The plot thickens. Matteo's voice was grim. Marco, get closer. I want to hear what they're saying. For 20 minutes they observed the meeting. Chin looked agitated, Bennett calm and controlling. Money changed hands before Chin hurried out. Follow him, Matteo ordered one of his men. To Sofia he said, let's go home. We need to regroup. Back at the penthouse, Sofia kicked off her heels while Matteo poured them both whiskey. The domesticity of the moment struck her. How natural it felt to return home together, to decompress after a shared experience. What's our next move? She asked, accepting the glass. We follow the money trail. Bennett's company, Eclipse Holdings, connects to Meridian and the Calabreses. But someone bigger is pulling the strings. Matteo loosened his tie. I'll have my financial team dig deeper. Sofia nodded, wandering to Matteo's office to retrieve her laptop. A file cabinet stood open, a folder labeled Russo Protection visible inside. Curious, Sofia glanced toward the doorway. Hearing Matteo on the phone, she pulled out the folder. Inside were security reports, surveillance photos, financial documents, all related to Russo hotels. But not recent ones. Some dated back months, well before their marriage. One report detailed how Matteo's security team had prevented a fire at the Milan property. Another showed intercepted emails planning to sabotage the Paris hotel's plumbing system during a diplomatic conference. Matteo had been protecting her family's business for months before they met. Before she crashed into his restaurant. Before he had any reason to care about the Russo name. Find what you're looking for? Sofia jumped. Matteo stood in the doorway, expression unreadable. You've been protecting my family's hotels. Sofia held up the folder. For months. Why? Matteo sighed, entering the office. It's complicated. Uncomplicate it. Sofia's voice sharpened. Why would you help us before we met? Before you had any reason to care about the Russo family? Matteo was quiet for a long moment. Because of Nana. What does your grandmother have to do with my family? Everything. Matteo took the folder, replacing it in the cabinet. Nana Lucia worked for your grandfather when she was young. Before she married into the Rossi family. Sofia stared at him. My grandfather? But that was 50 years ago. Yes. Matteo leaned against his desk. There's history between our families, Sofia. Deep history. What kind of history? I don't know all the details. Nana won't speak of it. But when attacks against Russo hotels began, she asked me to help. Matteo met Sofia's eyes. So I did. Sofia sank into a chair, processing this revelation. Why didn't you tell me? Would you have believed me? That a Rossi was secretly protecting Russos out of family loyalty. Oh, she wouldn't have. The realization stung. So our marriage. Sofia began. Was coincidence. Your crash into our restaurant surprised me as much as anyone. A ghost of a smile touched Matteo's lips. Though Nana did call it destiny. Sofia looked up at him, seeing past the protective armor he usually wore. In that moment he wasn't Matteo Rossi, heir to a criminal empire. He was just a man trying to do right by his family, and unexpectedly by hers. Sofia stood, moving toward him slowly. Thank you. For protecting my family when I couldn't. Something flickered in Matteo's eyes, vulnerability quickly masked. It wasn't entirely selfless. The attacks were hurting my businesses too. Still. Sofia reached for his hand. Thank you. Their fingers intertwined. Matteo's gaze dropped to her lips. The air between them charged with possibility. Without overthinking, Sofia leaned forward and pressed her lips to his. Matteo froze for a heartbeat, then his arms wrapped around her, pulling her against him as he deepened the kiss. Heat bloomed between them, months of tension dissolving in an instant. Sofia's hands slid into his hair as Matteo backed her against the desk, lifting her easily. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Sofia rested her forehead against his. That wasn't part of our arrangement, she whispered. Matteo's laugh was low and warm. Consider it a renegotiation of terms. Chapter 9. Morning light filtered through the blinds, painting stripes across Sofia's face. She stirred, reaching across the bed, finding only cool sheets. Matteo was already up. Last night replayed in her mind. Their kiss in the office, the way they'd stumbled to his bedroom afterward, desire overwhelming reason. She'd fallen asleep in his arms, feeling safer than she had in years. Sofia smiled, stretching like a cat. For the first time since their hasty wedding, she felt like a real wife, not a business partner. The scent of coffee lured her to the kitchen. Matteo stood at the counter, phone pressed to his ear, speaking rapid Italian. He wore only sweatpants, his muscled back marked with old scars she'd explored with her fingers the night before. He turned, catching sight of her in his borrowed t-shirt. His expression softened immediately, eyes warming with appreciation. I'll call back, he said into the phone, ending the call. Good morning. Morning. Sofia padded toward him, suddenly shy. Coffee smells good. Matteo pulled her against him, pressing a kiss to her forehead. Sleep well. Better than I have in weeks. Sofia rested her head against his chest, listening to his steady heartbeat. You. Same. His hand traced lazy circles on her back. Though I didn't get much sleep. Sofia laughed, hitting his arm playfully. Whose fault is that? Worth it. Matteo titled her chin up, kissing her properly. Sofia melted into him, marveling at how natural this felt. Morning kisses in the kitchen, the casual intimacy of shared space. When they finally broke apart, Matteo handed her a coffee mug, prepared exactly as she liked it. We need to talk about last night, he said, voice serious despite the warmth in his eyes. Sofia tensed. Having regrets already? None. Matteo tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. But we need to discuss what this means for our arrangement. Relief flooded Sofia. Okay. Our marriage was supposed to be temporary. A business deal. Matteo took her hand, tracing her wedding ring. Last night changed things. For me too, Sofia admitted. I never expected to feel this way about you. And how do you feel? Matteo's voice was carefully neutral. Sofia met his eyes. Like maybe this doesn't have to end in 6 months. Something flashed across Matteo's face. Hope, Sofia thought, followed by wariness. I want that too, he said slowly. But we need to be realistic. My world is dangerous, Sofia. Last night doesn't change that. I'm not afraid. You should be. Matteo's expression hardened. Until we find who's targeting us, nothing is certain. Then we'll find them. Together. Sofia squeezed his hand. Speaking of which, what did Marco find out about Bennett? Matteo allowed the change of subject. Lawrence Bennett has financial ties to someone named Victor Alvarez. We're looking into him now. Alvarez. Sofia frowned. Why does that name sound familiar? He's a real estate developer. Primarily South America and Europe. Recently expanding to North America. Sofia snapped her fingers. That's it. He tried to buy land near our Miami property last year. My father refused to sell. Matteo raised an eyebrow. Interesting. A business grudge. Must be more than that to justify murder. Sofia sipped her coffee. What's our next move? We have a meeting with my financial team at 11. Matteo checked his watch. Which gives us 2 hours to. His smirk suggested exactly how they might spend that time. Sofia blushed. I need a shower first. What a coincidence. Matteo pulled her toward the hallway. So do I. 2 days later, Sofia pored over reports in Matteo's office while he attended a meeting downtown. Their relationship had shifted dramatically, from reluctant partners to passionate lovers. They still maintained separate bedrooms for appearances, but Sofia hadn't slept in hers since that first night together. Her phone rang, an unknown number. Against her better judgment, Sofia answered. Hello. Sofia. Jackson's voice made her stomach clench. Don't hang up. Please. Sofia's finger hovered over the end call button. What do you want? To warn you. Jackson sounded panicked. You're in danger. Rossi isn't who you think he is. I know exactly who he is. Sofia's voice turned icy. And I know you're working with the Calabreses. Silence, then a shaky laugh. Is that what he told you? Sofia, he's manipulating you. Using you to get to your family's hotels. You expect me to believe you after what you did? Sofia stood pacing the office. I saw the photos, Jackson. You meeting with Vincent Calabrese. That wasn't what it looked like. Jackson's voice dropped. I'm in over my head, Sofia. My father forced me. Save it. Sofia cut him off. Don't call me again. He's planning to sell your family's flagship hotel. Jackson blurted. Ask him about Victor Alvarez. Ask him about the merger plans. Sofia froze. What merger plans? Rossi Enterprises is merging with Alvarez International. First step, acquiring Russo Hotel's properties. Jackson's voice was desperate. Check his safe. Behind the painting in his office. The merger documents are there. You're lying. I wish I was. For your sake. Jackson sighed. I never meant to hurt you, Sofia. That part was real. The line went dead. Sofia stared at her phone, heart pounding. Jackson was a liar. A cheater. Working with the people trying to kill her and Matteo. But what if he was telling the truth about the merger? Sofia's eyes darted to the painting Jackson had mentioned. A modern abstract that she'd never paid much attention to. Before she could second-guess herself, she crossed the room and slid the painting aside. A wall safe stared back at her. 6-digit combination. Sofia hesitated, then tried Matteo's birthday. Nothing. His grandmother's birthday. Still locked. On a hunch, she tried the date of their wedding. The day she'd crashed into his restaurant. The safe clicked open. Inside were stacks of cash, a gun, passports. Standard items for someone in Matteo's position. But beneath them was a thick folder labeled, Alvarez-Rossi merger. With trembling hands, Sofia pulled it out. The first page outlined merger terms between Rossi Enterprises and Alvarez International. The second listed assets to be consolidated. Russo Hotels was highlighted at the top of the list. Sofia flipped through pages detailing how Matteo would deliver controlling interest in Russo Hotels as part of the deal. Financial projections. Market analyses. A step-by-step plan for acquisition. The date on the documents, 3 weeks ago. After they'd started investigating together. After she'd begun to trust him. After they'd become lovers. Nausea rose in Sofia's throat. Everything, their partnership, their relationship, had been a calculated move. Matteo had used her, played on her emotions, all to gain control of her family's business. She'd fallen for it completely. The front door opened. Matteo's voice called out, "Sofia? You still here?" Sofia shoved the documents into her bag and closed the safe, sliding the painting back into place just as Matteo appeared in the doorway. "There you are." He smiled, loosening his tie. "Miss me?" Sofia forced her face to remain neutral despite the storm inside her. "How was your meeting?" "Productive." Matteo crossed to her, leaning in for a kiss. Sofia turned her face, his lips grazing her cheek instead. If Matteo noticed, he didn't comment. "I'm having dinner with Marco tonight," he said, checking his watch. "Business I can't postpone. Will you be okay here alone?" "Business. With Alvarez perhaps?" "Actually, I have plans with Bianca," Sofia lied smoothly. "She wants my opinion on bridesmaid dresses for her friend's wedding." "Good." Matteo seemed pleased. "You two should spend time together. She likes having a sister." Guilt twisted Sofia's stomach, but anger quickly drowned it out. How dare he talk about family while plotting to destroy hers? "I should get ready." Sofia moved toward the door, unable to bear his presence. "I'll see you later." "Sofia." Matteo caught her arm gently. "Is everything okay? You seem distant." For a moment, Sofia considered confronting him, demanding explanations. But if Jackson was right about the merger, what else might he be right about? Was she truly safe here? "Just tired," she managed, forcing a smile. "Long day staring at reports." Matteo studied her face, not entirely convinced. "We'll take a break tomorrow. Maybe drive up to the lake house for the weekend." "Sounds perfect." His phone rang before he could question her further. Sofia slipped away while he answered, retreating to her old bedroom. She closed the door, leaning against it as the reality of her situation crashed over her. She was married to a man who planned to steal her family's legacy. Who had gained her trust, her body, maybe even her heart. All for business. All for power. Sofia wiped angry tears from her cheeks. She wouldn't cry over this. Wouldn't give him the satisfaction. Instead, she packed a small overnight bag. Waited until she heard Matteo leave for his dinner. Wrote a brief note that revealed nothing of what she knew. As she slipped out of the penthouse, Sofia placed her wedding ring on the counter. A silent message Matteo couldn't misinterpret. In the elevator down, Sofia made a call. "Kate? It's Sofia. I need a place to stay tonight. No, don't tell anyone. Especially not my parents. I'll explain everything, but I need your word you'll keep this secret." Her friend agreed without hesitation. Sofia ended the call, closing her eyes as the elevator descended. She'd been so stupid. So blind. Never again. Chapter 10. Sofia slipped on dark sunglasses as she exited her friend Kate's apartment building. 2 days of hiding, ignoring Matteo's increasingly frantic calls and texts. 2 days of wrestling with hurt and betrayal. "Sure you don't want me to come with you?" Kate asked, hovering in the doorway. Sofia shook her head. "Better if I go alone. I just need to get more clothes from my apartment." "Be careful. Call me when you're there." Sofia nodded, checking the street before stepping onto the sidewalk. No sign of Matteo's men, though she suspected they were searching for her. Her phone buzzed again, Matteo's name lighting up the screen for the 20th time that morning. This time a text. "Asterisk please, Sofia. Whatever you think you know, let me explain. Just tell me you're safe. Asterisk." She shut off her phone and dropped it in her purse. No more distractions. Sofia walked 3 blocks before hailing a taxi. "West End Apartments, please." As the taxi pulled away, she didn't notice the black SUV that eased into traffic behind them. At her apartment building, Sofia paid the driver and hurried inside, nodding to the doorman. The elevator carried her to the 12th floor, where she quickly unlocked her door, relieved to be in familiar territory. Inside, she leaned against the door, exhaling deeply. The apartment felt like a time capsule, a life before Matteo. Before everything got complicated. Sofia moved quickly, pulling clothes from her closet and stuffing them into a duffel bag. She needed to be in and out fast in case Matteo thought to look for her here. The merger documents she'd stolen from his safe lay spread across her coffee table. She'd spent hours studying them, trying to understand the full scope of his betrayal. The plan was meticulous: use their marriage to gain inside information on Russo hotels, then leverage that for the merger with Alvarez. Sofia zipped the duffel bag and gathered the documents. Time to go. Maybe to her parents' lake house, though that would mean facing difficult questions. She opened her door and froze. A man in a tailored suit stood in the hallway, hand raised to knock. Behind him, another man waited by the elevator. "Ms. Russo," the first man said smoothly. "Or should I say Mrs. Rossi? Your husband is very worried about you." Sofia's instincts screamed danger. These weren't Matteo's men. "Who are you?" "Friends of Victor Alvarez. He's eager to meet you." The man smiled without warmth. "Would you come with us, please?" Sofia slammed the door and twisted the lock, heart pounding. She grabbed her phone, powering it on with shaking fingers. Before it could boot up, the door shuddered under a heavy impact. They were breaking in. Sofia ran for the fire escape. She'd barely reached the window when the apartment door crashed open. Hands grabbed her from behind, a cloth pressed over her mouth and nose. A sickly sweet smell filled her lungs as she struggled. The room began to spin, darkness closing in from all sides. Her last conscious thought was of Matteo. Would he even look for her? Or would he simply find another way to acquire Russo hotels? Sofia awoke to the sound of dripping water. Her head pounded, mouth dry as cotton. She tried to move, finding her wrists bound to the arms of a metal chair. Panic surged through her. She blinked rapidly, eyes adjusting to dim lighting. Concrete walls. High windows covered in grime. The musty smell of abandonment. A warehouse, perhaps. "She's awake," a familiar voice announced. Sofia's blood ran cold. Jackson stepped into view, looking nervous but determined. "Jackson." Her voice came out as a rasp. "What is this?" "I'm sorry it came to this, Sofia." He at least had the decency to look ashamed. "You should have listened to me on the phone." "By kidnapping me?" Sofia pulled against her restraints. "Let me go, Jackson." "I'm afraid that's not possible." Another man entered her field of vision. Older, with silver hair and cold eyes. Lawrence Bennett. Jackson's father. "Mr. Bennett." Sofia fought to keep her voice steady. "This is a crime. My family." "Your family will do exactly as we say if they want to see you again." Bennett checked his watch impatiently. "Where is Alvarez? He should be here by now." The name sent fresh fear through Sofia. Victor Alvarez. The man behind the merger documents. Behind the attacks on both families. "Why are you doing this?" she asked, buying time, assessing her surroundings. One door. Two windows too high to reach. Three men, including Jackson and his father. "Business, my dear." Bennett smiled thinly. "The Russo hotels are prime acquisition targets. Combined with Rossi's assets, they make an irresistible package for Alvarez International." "So you've been playing both sides?" Sofia's mind raced. "Setting up the Russos and Rossis against each other?" "Smart girl." Bennett nodded approvingly. "Though not smart enough to see what your husband was planning." Sofia flinched. The reminder of Matteo's betrayal hurt even now. "Rossi was never going to hand over your family's hotels," Jackson interjected. "He played my father. Played Alvarez. Pretended to go along with the merger while investigating us." Sofia's head snapped up. "What? He didn't tell you?" Bennett laughed coldly. "Your husband has been systematically dismantling our operation for weeks. Tracing money trails, turning our associates against us. All while making Alvarez believe he was on board with the merger." Confusion clouded Sofia's thoughts. If Matteo wasn't betraying her family, then why the merger documents? Why the secrecy? The warehouse door opened, admitting a tall, elegantly dressed man with salt and pepper hair. Victor Alvarez himself, flanked by two bodyguards. "Mrs. Rossi." Alvarez approached, studying her like a specimen. "A pleasure to finally meet you, though I wish it were under better circumstances." The circumstances are entirely your doing, Sofia retorted, finding her courage. Attacking my family. Trying to kill me and my husband. Alvarez raised an eyebrow. Spirited. I see why Rossi is so desperate to find you. He turned to Bennett. Have you called him yet? Waiting for your arrival. Bennett removed a phone from his jacket. What's our demand? Simple. Rossi comes alone with signed transfer documents for his businesses. Once verified, we release his wife. And then kill us both, Sofia said flatly. Alvarez smiled. Business requires decisive endings sometimes. Bennett dialed, putting the phone on speaker. It rang 3 times before Matteo answered, voice tight with controlled fury. Bennett. Where is she? Your wife is fine, Rossi. For now. Bennett nodded to one of his men who yanked Sofia's hair, forcing a cry from her lips. Sofia. Matteo's voice sharpened. If you've hurt her. That depends on you, Alvarez cut in. I want the transfer documents we discussed. All of them signed and notarized. Come alone to the address Bennett will text you. You have 1 hour. Let me speak to her properly, Matteo demanded. Alvarez nodded. The guard held the phone to Sofia's ear. Matteo. She hated the tremor in her voice. Sofia. Relief flooded his tone. Are you hurt? No. But Matteo, they're going to kill us both. Don't come. Sofia struggled against her bonds. The merger documents. The phone was yanked away before she could finish. 1 hour, Rossi, Alvarez said coldly. Come alone or she dies. He ended the call. Sofia's mind raced, processing new information. Matteo investigating Alvarez. Not betraying her family. Playing along with the merger to gather evidence. It made a terrible kind of sense. She'd run without giving him a chance to explain. Sofia scanned the warehouse again, noticing details she'd missed before. A rusty pipe near her chair. The fraying rope binding her left wrist. The guard's gun holstered carelessly at his hip. She'd spent weeks working with Matteo, learning to observe, to plan. She wouldn't sit passively waiting for rescue. I need water, she announced. And to use the bathroom. Jackson looked to Alvarez, who shrugged. Give her water. But she stays in the chair. As Jackson approached with a water bottle, Sofia slumped forward, seemingly defeated. When he leaned down to help her drink, she whispered, Your father will kill you too, Jackson. You know too much. Doubt flickered in his eyes. He wouldn't. Why do you think Alvarez brought extra men? Insurance against loose ends. Sofia maintained eye contact. Help me, Jackson. Before it's too late for both of us. Jackson stepped back, conflicted. Sofia had planted the seed. Now she had to wait. 20 minutes crawled by. Sofia worked subtly at her left restraint, feeling it loosen incrementally. Alvarez paced, checking his watch repeatedly. Bennett, he snapped, go outside and make sure the perimeter is secure. I don't trust Rossi to come alone. As Bennett and one guard left, Sofia caught Jackson's eye again. Last chance, she mouthed silently. Jackson looked between her and Alvarez, then at the remaining guard. Decision made, he walked to the small table where they'd placed her belongings. What are you doing? Alvarez demanded. Checking her phone. Jackson held it up. Making sure she didn't activate any tracking apps. While Alvarez's attention was on Jackson, Sofia gave one final tug at her loosened restraint. Her left hand came free. Heart pounding, she fumbled for the rusty pipe beside her chair, concealing it in the folds of her skirt. A commotion outside drew Alvarez's attention. Shouting. A gunshot. Check that, he ordered the guard, who moved toward the door. The moment the guard turned, Sofia launched herself from the chair, still partially bound. She swung the pipe with all her strength, connecting with the back of Alvarez's knees. He crumpled with a shout of pain. The guard spun back, reaching for his weapon. Jackson tackled him from behind, sending them both crashing into a stack of crates. Sofia scrambled for Alvarez's fallen gun, her right hand still tied to the chair. She managed to grab it just as the warehouse door burst open. Matteo charged in, weapon drawn, flanked by Marco and several armed men. His eyes found Sofia immediately disheveled, half bound to a chair, pointing a gun at Alvarez with shaking hands. Sofia. He rushed to her side, taking in her condition with a sweep of his gaze. relief and fury warred in his expression. You came. She couldn't keep the wonder from her voice. Always. Matteo gently took the gun from her trembling fingers, passing it to Marco before freeing her right hand. I will always come for you. Sofia practically fell into his arms, the adrenaline crash leaving her weak. Matteo held her tightly, one hand cradling her head. I thought. She began. I know. He pressed a kiss to her temple. Later. Let's get you out of here first. Around them, Matteo's men secured Alvarez and the guard. Jackson sat on a crate, head in his hands. What about him? Sofia nodded toward her ex-fiancé. He tried to help me at the end. Matteo's jaw tightened, but he nodded to Marco. Take him in for questioning. We'll sort it out later. As they moved toward the exit, Sofia asked, Bennett? Won't be a problem anymore, Matteo said grimly. Outside, police cars and ambulances filled the street, a strange sight paired with Matteo's private security force. You called the police? Sofia asked, surprised. I'm trying to go legitimate, remember? Matteo's lip curled in a half-smile. Besides, we have enough evidence to put Alvarez away legally. No need to handle this the old way. Sofia looked up at him, seeing Matteo, really seeing him, perhaps for the first time. Not just the dangerous man who'd blackmailed her into marriage. Not just the passionate lover who'd awakened feelings she'd never experienced. But someone fighting to be better than his past, while using its lessons to protect what mattered to him. As paramedics approached to check her for injuries, Sofia clutched Matteo's hand. The merger documents. In your safe. I thought. I know what you thought. His eyes held hers. And we have a lot to talk about. But not here. Not now. Sofia nodded, suddenly exhausted. Take me home. Matteo's expression softened. Home it is. Chapter 11. Sofia stood under the hot shower, letting water wash away the grime of the warehouse. Her wrists bore angry red marks from the restraints. Bruises bloomed on her arms where rough hands had grabbed her. But she was alive. Safe. When she finally emerged, wrapped in Matteo's plush robe, she found him waiting in the bedroom. He'd changed into clean clothes, his hair still damp from his own shower. Better? He asked softly. Sofia nodded, sitting beside him on the edge of the bed. Neither spoke for a long moment, the weight of unasked questions hanging between them. I thought you'd betrayed me, Sofia finally said, voice barely above a whisper. The merger documents were part of a trap. Matteo took her hand gently, mindful of her bruised wrist. I needed Alvarez to believe I was playing along. The only way to discover who was behind everything. Why didn't you tell me? Pain flickered across his face. I wanted to. But the fewer people who knew, the safer you'd be. I'm your wife, Sofia protested. My wife who insisted our marriage was temporary. A business arrangement. Matteo's words held no accusation, just quiet truth. Until recently, I wasn't sure where we stood. Sofia looked down at their joined hands. And the safe? The combination was our wedding date. A smile tugged at Matteo's lips. Sentimental of me, wasn't it? Why did you really marry me, Matteo? Sofia met his eyes. The truth this time. Matteo exhaled slowly. At first it was for Nana. And yes, to protect you after you witnessed the meeting. But also. He paused, seeming to search for words. Also because from the moment you crashed into my restaurant, wedding dress torn and fire in your eyes, something in me recognized something in you. What do you mean? You were fearless. Wounded but fighting. I admired that. His thumb traced circles on her palm. I didn't plan to care for you, Sofia. But I do. More than I thought possible. Sofia's heart thumped painfully in her chest. Why did you start investigating Alvarez in the first place? Before we met. Matteo released her hand, moving to retrieve a folder from his nightstand. Because of this. Sofia opened it, finding old photographs. A young woman in 1950s clothing, dark-haired and beautiful, standing beside a handsome young man. Nana Lucia, Sofia recognized. And this man. Your grandfather. Antonio Russo Sr. Sofia studied the photo with new interest. The couple looked happy, clearly comfortable with each other. Were they? In love? Yes. Matteo's voice softened. Before family obligations separated them. My grandfather was promised to my grandmother. Sofia remembered family history. A merger of hotel empires. And Nana married into the Rossi family. A strategic alliance her parents arranged. Matteo took back the photo, handling it carefully. But they never stopped caring for each other. Even from a distance. This is why she asked you to protect our hotels? Sofia asked. Out of love for my grandfather? Partly. Matteo set the folder aside. There's more. Alvarez's father was involved in forcing their separation. He wanted your grandfather's hotels for himself, used information to pressure both families. It created a decades-long feud that benefited the Alvarez family while our families remained enemies. History repeating itself, Sofia murmured. Victor using Jackson, trying to pit our families against each other again. Exactly. Matteo's expression hardened. When Alvarez began moving against both our families, Nana recognized the pattern. Asked me to investigate quietly. Then I crashed into your life. Like fate, Nana would say. A genuine smile touched Matteo's lips. I'm not sure I believed in fate before that night. And now? Sofia asked. Now I'm not so quick to dismiss it. Matteo reached out, tucking a damp strand of hair behind her ear. You left your ring. Sofia winced at the memory. I was hurt. Angry. I thought I'd lost you. Matteo's voice roughened. When Bennett called, when I heard your voice. He closed his eyes briefly. I've never been so scared. The admission, vulnerability from a man who showed the world only strength, touched something deep in Sofia's heart. I should have trusted you, she whispered. Given you a chance to explain. And I should have trusted you with the truth from the beginning. Matteo cupped her face gently. No more secrets between us. No more half-truths. If this marriage continues, it has to be real. Completely real. If. Sofia's breath caught. Our agreement was 6 months. A business arrangement. Matteo's eyes held hers. Is that still what you want? Sofia thought about the past weeks. The man who'd gradually revealed himself behind the cold facade. His gentleness with his grandmother. His determination to protect both their families. The way he held her at night as if she were something precious. No, she said softly. That's not what I want anymore. Relief washed over Matteo's face. From his pocket he withdrew her wedding ring. Then perhaps you'll want this back? Sofia extended her hand, allowing him to slip the gold band back onto her finger. On one condition. Name it. We get married again. Properly this time. Not a hasty ceremony with criminal witnesses and ulterior motives. Sofia smiled. Something real. Whatever you want. Matteo brought her hand to his lips. Though I should warn you, Fana will insist on planning it. I think I can live with that. Sofia leaned forward, pressing her forehead to his. I never thought I'd say this to a Rossi, but I love you, Matteo. Matteo's breath caught. For a moment he simply held her gaze, emotions playing across his face. Then he pulled her close, his kiss conveying what words couldn't yet express. When they finally separated, both breathless, Matteo whispered, Ti amo, Sofia. More than I knew was possible. The next morning, Sofia woke to find Matteo already dressed, speaking quietly on the phone. She stretched, body still tender from her ordeal but heart lighter than it had been in days. He ended the call when he noticed she was awake. Good morning. Morning. Sofia sat up, sheets pooling around her waist. Everything okay? Jackson Bennett has been singing like a canary to the police. Matteo sat beside her on the bed. Turning state's evidence against his father and Alvarez in exchange for leniency. Will it be enough to convict them? Combined with the evidence we've gathered? Absolutely. Matteo looked satisfied. They'll be in prison for a very long time. Sofia nodded, relieved. Good. Your parents called. They've heard about the kidnapping. It's all over the news. Matteo handed her a newspaper. The headline read, Hotel heiress rescued from kidnappers, business rivals arrested. Great. Sofia sighed. They must be frantic. They're waiting downstairs actually. Sofia's eyes widened. What? Now? I called them last night while you were sleeping. Thought it was time we had an honest conversation with them. Matteo looked uncharacteristically nervous. Should I have waited? Before Sofia could answer, a knock came at the bedroom door. Matteo. Nonna Lucia's voice called. Is she awake yet? I've been waiting an hour. Sofia couldn't help laughing at Matteo's exasperated expression. Your grandmother is here too? She insisted. Matteo ran a hand through his hair. Said something about making sure we didn't mess things up again. Smart woman. Sofia slid from bed, reaching for her robe. Give me 15 minutes to get dressed. Then we'll face them together. Matteo caught her hand, pulling her into a quick kiss. Together. When Sofia entered the living room 20 minutes later, she found a scene she'd never imagined possible. Her father and Matteo sat across from each other, discussing business with animated gestures. Her mother and Nonna Lucia shared the sofa, looking through what appeared to be old photographs. They all looked up when she appeared. Her mother rushed to embrace her. Sofia. We were so worried when we heard. I'm fine, Mama. Sofia returned the hug, meeting Matteo's eyes over her mother's shoulder. Thanks to Matteo. Her father approached more slowly. You should have come to us when you suspected something was wrong with Bennett and his father. I know, Papa. Sofia accepted his awkward hug. But it's over now. Not quite. Nonna Lucia wheeled herself forward. There's still the matter of my grandson making an honest woman of my granddaughter. Nonna, Matteo protested, we're already married. Pa. A rushed ceremony in a restaurant backroom? That's not a wedding. Lucia waved dismissively. Sofia deserves a proper celebration. Sofia's mother nodded emphatically. For once, I agree with Lucia. You've been talking about this, haven't you? Sofia looked between the two older women suspiciously. We might have discussed a few details, her mother admitted, not looking remotely guilty. Sofia turned to Matteo, who shrugged helplessly. Don't look at me. I've learned not to argue with Nonna. Wise boy. Lucia patted his cheek before turning to Sofia's father. Antonio, you and I have business to discuss. About joining our families properly this time. Antonio Russo looked between his daughter and Matteo, seeing something that made his expression soften. I suppose we do, Lucia. As the parents moved to the dining room to continue their discussion, Matteo pulled Sofia close. Still want that proper wedding? He murmured in her ear. Sofia watched their families together, old grudges setting aside, new bonds forming. I do. But this time for the right reasons. And what reasons are those? Sofia turned in his arms, looking up at the man who'd begun as her enemy, become her ally, and now held her heart. Love, she said simply. Just love. Chapter 12. 6 months to the day after Sofia crashed her car into Matteo's restaurant, she stood in her childhood bedroom, staring at her reflection. The wedding dress, her second, was nothing like the first. No princess ball gown or cathedral train. Instead, a sleek silk sheath with delicate lace overlay hugged her curves before flaring gently at the knees. Simple. Elegant. Completely her choice. You look beautiful, her mother said, adjusting the veil. So different from last time. I'm different, Sofia replied. Everything is. 6 months that had transformed her life. 6 months that had begun with a fake marriage and would end with a real one. The door opened and Bianca swept in, resplendent in her maid of honor dress. The cars are ready. Nana's already seated and telling everyone who will listen about how she orchestrated this whole romance. Sofia laughed. Let her. In a way she did. Matteo's a nervous wreck, Bianca reported with sisterly glee. I've never seen him like this. Marco threatened to handcuff him to keep him from pacing. Cold feet. Sofia asked, a flicker of old insecurities surfacing. The opposite. Bianca squeezed her hand. He's afraid you might change your mind. Realize you could do better than a Rossi. Never, Sofia said firmly. We've earned this happiness. The past months hadn't been easy. The trial of Alvarez and Lawrence Bennett had dragged painful details into the public eye. Both families had weathered the publicity storm together, presenting a united front that shocked society circles. Matteo had continued his efforts to legitimize his businesses, cutting ties with shadier elements despite resistance. Sofia had launched her event planning company, securing major clients on her own merit. They'd built something real from the wreckage of their beginning. A knock at the door announced her father, handsome in his tuxedo, looking uncharacteristically emotional. "It's time," he said gruffly. In the hallway he paused, taking Sofia's hands. "I was wrong about him." Sofia blinked in surprise. Her father rarely admitted mistakes. "I know, Papa. He's a good man. Different from his family's reputation." Antonio's voice roughened. "He reminds me of your grandfather. Determined to forge his own path." Sofia squeezed his hands. "Thank you for giving him a chance. Thank you for being stubborn enough to force me to." A rare smile creased his face. "You always were the strongest of us all." The ceremony took place in the garden of the Russo family's lake house. White chairs lined a petal-strewn aisle. Flowers draped every available surface, not ostentatious but elegant, just as Sofia had planned. At the altar stood Matteo, breathtakingly handsome in a perfectly tailored tuxedo. When he caught sight of Sofia on her father's arm, his composed expression faltered. Even from a distance she could see the emotion in his eyes. Unlike their first wedding, Sofia savored every moment of this one. The meaningful vows they'd written themselves. The gentle way Matteo's hands trembled slightly as he slid the ring onto her finger. Not the simple band from their hasty first ceremony, but an antique diamond that had belonged to his grandmother. "I promise to choose you," Matteo vowed, voice steady despite the emotion in his eyes. "Every day. Every challenge. Every joy and sorrow. Not because of a deal or an arrangement, but because you are the heart I didn't know I was missing." When the priest finally announced them husband and wife, Matteo's kiss was both tender and possessive, a public declaration of a private truth they'd discovered in the most unlikely circumstances. The reception unfolded in a massive tent overlooking the lake. Sofia caught glimpses of their merged worlds throughout the evening, Matteo's associates in quiet conversation with her father's business partners. Nonna Lucia holding court from her place of honor, her sharp eyes missing nothing. Their mothers, once wary strangers, now laughing together like old friends. "Happy?" Matteo asked, finding a moment alone with her on the dance floor. "Completely." Sofia rested her head against his chest, feeling his heartbeat. "Though I can't help thinking about our first wedding. How different everything was." "I was blackmailing you into marriage," Matteo acknowledged with a rueful smile. "Not my finest moment. And I was using you to escape a scandal." Sofia looked up at him. "We were quite the pair. We still are." Matteo pulled her closer. "Just better versions of ourselves." As midnight approached, legal documents awaited their signatures in Matteo's office at the lake house. The divorce papers from their original agreement, precisely 6 months from the date they'd wed. Sofia held the pen over the signature line, then set it down. "It feels wrong somehow." "Divorcing me already?" Matteo teased, though his eyes were serious. "Ending something that brought us here." Sofia touched the papers. "Without that first marriage, would we have found each other? Really found each other?" "Eventually," Matteo said confidently. "Some things are inevitable. Like a Rossi and a Russo falling in love?" Sofia smiled. "Like us." Matteo took the divorce papers and deliberately tore them in half. "Some paperwork doesn't need filing." Later they escaped to the boathouse, away from lingering guests. The small dock extended into the still lake, stars reflected in the dark water. Sofia kicked off her heels, letting her feet dangle over the edge. "I have something for you," Matteo said, sitting beside her. From his pocket he produced a small box. Inside was a key. "What's this?" "The deed to a building downtown. For your event company." Matteo watched her reaction carefully. "You mentioned wanting a proper office." Sofia turned the key over in her palm. "You bought me a building? I bought you independence." Matteo's voice was serious. "I never want you to feel trapped, Sofia. Not with me, not in your career. You deserve to build something that's entirely yours." Tears pricked Sofia's eyes. "Thank you. For understanding what I need. I'm learning." Matteo brushed a strand of hair from her face. "Just as you've learned that sometimes I need to protect what matters to me. Even when it's annoying." Sofia laughed, thinking of their recent argument about security measures at her office. "We're both stubborn. Makes life interesting." Matteo stretched out beside her, looking up at the stars. 6 months ago, if someone had told me I'd be here, madly in love with Sofia Russo, you'd have had them eliminated?" Sofia suggested mischievously. I was going to say I wouldn't have believed them, but your version works too. Matteo pulled her down beside him, both laughing. Their laughter faded into comfortable silence. Sofia rested her head on Matteo's chest, listening to his steady heartbeat. What are you thinking? He asked softly. That Nana Lucia was right. Some things are meant to be, even when they start as collateral damage from other people's choices. Sofia propped herself up to look at him. We made our own fate. And our own family, Matteo added, surprising her. Speaking of which, how would you feel about expanding it sooner rather than later? Sofia's heart skipped. Are you asking if I want children? Eventually. But I was thinking of a puppy to start. Matteo grinned at her expression. Nana says every home needs a dog. Always listening to Nana. Sofia kissed him lightly. But yes. To both the puppy and someday children. In the distance, music from the reception floated across the water. Their guests would be looking for them soon. The public face of their union waiting to be maintained. But here in this moment was the truth of them. Two people who'd begun as reluctant partners, forced together by circumstance, who'd chosen each other despite every reason not to. I love you, Sofia Rossi, Matteo whispered against her hair. Every stubborn, brilliant, fearless inch of you. And I love you, Sofia replied, the words no longer surprising on her tongue. Even though you're bossy and overprotective and entirely too convinced you're always right. That's fair. His chest rumbled with quiet laughter. A shooting star streaked across the sky. Sofia closed her eyes, making a silent wish, not for wealth or success or safety, but for this feeling to last. This certainty that she was exactly where she was meant to be. When she opened them, Matteo was watching her with such tenderness it made her breath catch. Ready to go back? He asked. Sofia looked toward the lights of the reception, then back to her husband. Her true husband in every way that mattered. Not yet, she decided. Let's stay here a little longer. Just us. Matteo smiled, wrapping his arms around her. Just us sounds perfect. As they lay together under the stars, Sofia thought about all the choices that had led them here. The crash that had brought them together. The danger that had forged their partnership. The betrayals and truths that had tested their bond. In the end, after all the schemes and secrets had fallen away, they'd made the choice that mattered most. They'd chosen each other. Not for family obligations, business advantages, or appearances. But for love. Simply love. And that made all the difference. The